What's up? What's up? What's up? Hey, pilots, it's your girl Monique. Welcome back to my channel, Freedom to Love Yourself. Put on your seatbelts and let's get ready to fly. Okay, so this topic for today is about dating. And so I just wanted to give like 5 little things that I think are really important when you're dating. And I just want to be clear, like this is not like if I follow these 5 tips, I'm sure to snag a man. No, because clearly it doesn't work like that. So, whether you are in a relationship currently or looking to be in one, or you're somewhere in between, or you're not really sure, stay tuned for these 5 tips. Tip number 1. So, tip number 1 is be open, but don't settle. Yes, we all have our non negotiables, but it's important to recognize that nobody is perfect. And with people, you're going to have to take the good with the bad. And it's all about what you personally are willing to deal with. And so, when thinking about what you're willing to deal with, when you have a person who has certain traits about them that you don't like, think to yourself, if this person never changed, would I still be able to be happy in this relationship? If the answer is no, you go. If the answer is yes, then you can stay. In order to really know what you will or will not be okay with, it's important to know yourself and to do that digging beforehand so that when the situation arises, you're better able to decide what you will and will not be able to deal with. And sometimes in certain situations, you're going to have to decide in that situation because it's just something that you haven't thought of before, and that's okay. Tip number 2. Take your time. Take your time. Falling in love and being in love and all that stuff is beautiful, but it takes time and it takes work. So take the time to, one, get to know yourself and also get to know your partner as an individual. And this is also for people who are currently in relationships. I heard a quote a while ago that your partner is not a photo, they're a movie. They're constantly changing, they're constantly growing. And the person that you met however long ago might not be the same person that you know now. And that's okay. They're growing, they're learning, we're all maturing. And don't rush to get into a relationship, especially if you're not ready. And if you're not ready, that's okay. Like, do it on your terms and your time. And if somebody else tells you that they're not ready to be in a relationship, please don't try to pressure them into one. It doesn't work. It's not a thing. You have to give people time, give people space to grow. It's okay. This also means take your time. Don't rely on societal expectations of what a relationship timeline should look like. Oh, we've been dating for 3 months. I should be in a relationship by now. Not necessarily. Like, figure out what works for you. Because trust, these dudes ain't going nowhere. I mean, you miss one, next 15 one coming. Am I right? Oh, I can't say that? I shouldn't say that? Okay. What I meant to say was that what's for you will not miss you if you take your time. So what's for you is always going to be for you, and what's not for you is never going to be for you. That's good? That's better? All right, cool. Tip number 3, be yourself. I know this sounds like really simple and kind of cliche, but be yourself. Many of us try to put on a show in the dating phase to get the other person to like us, but you can only put on a show for so long. Eventually, your true colors are going to start to show. And if you want it to be a long-lasting relationship, don't you want it to be with someone who knows you and someone who actually likes you for who you are and not for who you're pretending to be? I know I do. I'm not going to judge if you don't, but you know. And if you're finding it hard to be yourself in relationships or on dates and things like that, maybe that's a sign that you should step back a little bit and get to know yourself and learn to love yourself a little bit more. Self-love is the best love, 'cause your love is the Tip number 4, communication. I know we live in an era where petty is cool and he should know that this, that, and the third because I didn't tell him, but I was thinking it, so he should be able to read my mind. It don't work like that. We are only human beings. We cannot read each other's minds. And that's why open and honest communication is so, so important. Tell people what you need. Tell people what you want. Tell people what you don't like. Tell people what makes you uncomfortable. And many of us are so scared to talk to our partners or the people that we're dating that we just end up making assumptions and we ruin it for everybody. No, I'm not talking about me. When you ask, you also have to be receptive and open to whatever answer they might give you. So if you're going in there expecting one answer, you should probably prepare for what you're going to do if you don't get the answer that you want. But also know that just because you don't get the answer that you want, don't take it personal. You would rather somebody be honest with you or lie to you. I'd rather somebody be honest with me. And also, don't ask questions that you are not willing to answer yourself. Which leads me to my last and final tip number 5. Do not expect what you cannot give. Okay, so this is for my people who want somebody who knows how to cook, but you don't even know how to make a sandwich. Okay, like you don't have to know how to do it the way Penthouse Eats does it, but know how to do something. And this is not to say that in your relationship you cannot establish certain roles, but if you expect kindness, you have to give kindness. If you expect open and honest communication, you have to give open and honest communication. Seems fairly simple to me. Just to go over them again, there are 5 little tips that make a big difference in your relationship. 1, be open, but don't settle. 2, take your time. 3, be yourself. 4, communicate with your person. And 5, do not expect what you are not willing to give. And so, as always, I want to end my video with an affirmation. And so this week's affirmation is, I am deserving of the love which I seek. And if you have any more tips or anything like that, please leave them in the comments below. As always, like, comment below, subscribe to my channel, follow me on social media at Fly Affirmations, and tell a friend to tell a friend to do the same. Always remember that you were born to fly. See you next time, pilots.